Hello and welcome to this presentation about drama here at the Griffin School. My name is Holly Young and I'm the head of drama here. So a little bit about the department. All students at our school participate in drama at Key Stage 3, where they are given 2 lessons of a fortnight in the timetable. At GCSE and A-level, the subject is optional, where at GCSE they're given 4 hours and then at A-level they are given 9. We study the EDUCAS exam board and specification here for both GCSE and A-level. All lessons are taught in our 2 drama rooms. You'll see a variety of pictures to show you our space. Both spaces do include theatre lights as well as stage curtains to help make our performances as professional as possible. And in terms of the teaching staff, we have 2 full-time specialist teachers as well as 2 part-time who are non-specialists who help teach Key Stage 3, mainly focusing on Year 7. Okay, in terms of the curriculum, we have a really broad and wide curriculum that covers all the key skills and areas that students need in order to be able to be successful at Key Stage 3, but also A-level and further education. We also recognise that obviously Key Stage 3 students, not all of them will pick GCSE drama, and so we really make sure that our curriculum builds really personal and social skills in order for them to be the best person that they can be, okay, and have the confidence in order to be able to take transferable skills that they might not necessarily use within theatre, but in everyday life, such as confidence, teamwork skills, empathy, the list goes on. So you can see in the first box, Year 7 complete 3 units, Year 8 complete 4, Year 9 complete 4. Every single one of those units has an assessment attached to it, which I will go through on the next couple of slides. At Year 10, we have 2 sort of introduction units, the introduction to GCSE and the physical theatre, that help sort of almost create little mock performances for them, ready for the real units. We do some written exam preparation, and then we also start the first component of the GCSE, because drama is different to most other subjects in that we do complete elements of the course throughout the 2 years. So the first sort of 40% is finished by November of Year 11. The second 20% component 2 is finished in February of Year 11, and then they just have the written exam left. Key Stage 5 is very similar in terms of completing units throughout the A-level, and again sort of slowly building the skills up and completing a range of different practice exams and performances in order for them to make sure that their final performances and final units are the best that they can be. So sort of skills overview and what we're looking at in terms of all our different units and why we've constructed these units and topics fall under all these skills. So the first one is looking at obviously performance skills. We are in drama. The aim is obviously to be able to perform effectively, develop a range of theatrical skills, be able to apply them to performances, and also obviously use their vocal movement and interaction skills when performing. However, design is also massively important, and we are getting more and more students nowadays opting for GCSE and A-level drama, but wanting to take the design route and focus on the backstage elements rather than the performance. And so this has been a real key area that I've been focusing on the last couple of years in order to really start building those skills up from Key Stage 3 as well, because there are so many opportunities in theatre. It's not just about the acting, it's also about the lighting, the set, the costume, the hair and makeup, the sound, etc. So yeah, design skills is our sort of second skill that we're really looking at, making sure students understand all of those roles, be able to be original with their own designs, and understand all the key terminology. Another skill is being able to analyse performance scripts, be able to read a play, understand the social, historical, cultural context of it, be able to come up with their own ideas for design elements or acting, and really be able to write about that. Also be able to perform, but also write about it in the written exam. As mentioned previously, personal skills are very, very important. We don't just want to focus on performing, we also want to think about actually the transferable skills that students will gain by participating in drama. So we really want them to be able to work collaboratively as part of a group. We want them to have their own leadership skills and be able to make their own decisions. Also time management in order to be able to organise their own creation of work and sort of rehearsal time. And also obviously confidence, being able to speak, perform in front of others or in a group, because they are very, very important in everyday life. And then the final two are evaluation skills and literacy skills. So evaluation, we want the students to be able to watch their work, others' work, and be able to identify sort of the key areas that were effective and what would need improving, and be also able to do that from live theatre point of view as well. And then obviously literacy in drama, that 40% for both the A-level and the GCSE is the written exam, and we do also include other elements of coursework. So we really want people to be able to effectively communicate their ideas in the written format and also be able to use the correct terminology within their work too. So a little bit about how we track the learning and the progress of every student. So every unit we complete has an assessment task that is used to obviously assess the students' learning and their progress. Now, what we decided to do as a department is have a very clear level descriptor that would be shown to students before they undertake the task, so they know exactly what we are looking for each grade. And these were taken and sort of filtered down from the GCSE and the A-level mark schemes, and there's an example of a Year 7 one on the board. So students can constantly refer back to that and take ownership of their work, but also really know what they have to do to achieve the next grade or the grade that they are aiming to achieve. We also have the structured Mark 12 and assessment sheets that we stick into students' books, which look something like this, which clearly identify their target grade, as well as marks awarded, and they also get personalised feedback in terms of the performance or the assessment that they've done. So we normally use that as sort of what worked well and even better if. If a written task has been completed, there will also be a DIRT task, or often referred to as a now or next time task, where the students will go back to their work and then complete either the extra detail, the extra task, answering questions in a purple pen. So this is an example of a Year 8 student's assessment, and then the person went back and answered a few questions to help boost them that, and that would have got them the next mark. So these are really clearly put in every student's book. The books that we use at Key Stage 3, the students keep from Year 7 to Year 9. So it's really clear if you go through their books exactly how they've progressed throughout the 3 years. And then what we do as a department is upload our data into a shared folder in staff resources, which is colour-coded, so we can clearly track students that are above, on or below target and provide the necessary intervention. I, as the head of department, monitor this as well and also talk to the staff to see if anything can be done if students aren't doing as well or a class is particularly struggling, for example. Okay, so what I'm going to move on to now is talking about our units and how the skills build up over the years and how each of our units from Key Stage 3 up to A-level all intertwine and build on one another. So they sort of have their headings, and this is how I've been able to structure our curriculum. So the first one is known as devising theatre units. And devising theatre means students create their own performance work. And this is a highly important element at the GCSE specification because it's worth 40% of their GCSE and it's component 1, where they have to devise their own performance in a specific genre or style of performance inspired by stimulus. It's very similar at A-level, but there are 2 different elements. First of all is component 1, where they take a small part of a script and then use that as inspiration to create then their own new work. And component 2, where they just devise their own performance inspired from a stimulus. So that's very similar to the GCSE unit, obviously just at A-level. So we know we're aiming for students to be successful when they get to those elements and being able to take ownership of their own work, be creative with their own performances. So we really start to build the skills from Year 7. So the first unit in Year 7 is known as Introduction to Drama, which is really focused on students starting to learn some key dramatic techniques and building those up in order to be able to use at least one technique in a scene. understanding the impact of them and what they have. Then we also do a third unit in Year 7 called Genres of Theatre, which is different to the first unit because we explore 4 different types of genres and types of theatre, and then students pick their favourite one to complete their assessment. At GCSE, students have to perform in a range of genres, so this is a good sort of introduction for them to understand that there are different types of theatre out there, and just a very simple introduction that we then build on more throughout Key Stage 3 and GCSE. In Year 8, we do a dramatic techniques unit, which builds on from Unit 1 of Year 7, where they learn about more techniques, more advanced techniques, more challenging techniques, but also how to use a couple within a scene. So rather than just applying one, for example, a still image, they are able to apply a still image and also a conscience alley, which would have been a new technique they didn't learn in Year 7. In Year 8 as well, we start to build on more challenging topics. So Year 8, sorry. So Year 7, we look at Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Reason why is because it's quite a creative story, but also most students have seen that film or are aware of the story. So we don't need to worry about the story as much, it's more about the techniques. Whereas Year 8, we introduce the story of Derek Bentley and the real life story. And so we sort of show students how real life stories can be really effective within performances. There's a lot more scope and detail to explore within that unit and story as well. So very similar with Year 9, but again just building further, so it's a lot more of a challenging topic. We look at the Stephen Lawrence story and how he was in an unprovoked racist attack and unfortunately lost his life. So it sparks a lot of conversation about society and about what needs to change, which is highly important because that's often an aim within theatre, within the GCSE and A-level works for our audience. We also build on, again, more challenging techniques and really sort of get them to think about how they can use a range within a scene. Then this builds onto the GCSE, okay, and at GCSE, in start of Year 10, we build on physical theatre, we build on specific genres that they can perform in, and then obviously the real component one, they then are taking ownership, building on their own ideas. They may take real life stories from what we've done in Year 8 and 9, be inspired by those, it's up to them, and then they perform that style, and you can see a couple of pictures on the slide. And exactly the same for A-level, so we've got component 1, which we complete in Year 12. Again, this is linked to a specific practitioner and theatre company. So at the beginning of the A-level course, we explore a range of them. These are a little bit more precise and specific in comparison to the GCSE just styles and genres. And then exactly the same for the component 2, except this time, rather than being inspired by a script, it's a stimulus, and they have to pick a different theatre practitioner style. And then our second heading and sort of topic overview that we look at is the idea of performing scripts, because that's very different to performing their own and creating their own theatre. So again, we have a real linear build-up in terms of skills and really starting from Year 7 and building those up all the way to A-level. So in Year 7, we do a script called Ernie's Incredible Hallucinations. And really that whole unit is getting them to understand a play, understanding the layout, the structure. Most students wouldn't have read a play by the time they get to us, so we really focus on that to start with. And then also the idea of performing a character. And what key vocal skills are there? What key movement skills are there? We then build that up more in Year 8 when we look at a slightly more challenging play. There's a variety of different characters that we explore, which the students really enjoy because there's a range that each personality can pick. Also, we build on this more and we look at more challenging skills in terms of things like interaction. So not just focusing on them performing when they're speaking, but also showing the character when others are. Year 9 then is another step because we look at different types of scripts. So we look at both naturalistic and non-naturalistic and the differences between them, and students are then able to pick the style they prefer for their performance, which feeds really well into the GCSE unit as well, because that's exactly what happens at GCSE. They can perform a wide range of scripts, and so they've learnt that from year 9 and can build on it as well. Also in year 9, we do a staging of scripted performance, which focuses on the design elements and how we can build design ideas within a script. So obviously helping anyone that's interested in design skills for GCSE, building those. They would have already learned about the design roles in Unit 3, and then we obviously apply that to a script for Unit 4. And like I said, that all then plays into the second unit of GCSE, which is performing a text, which is worth 20% of the GCSE. And then we also build on that more at A level. Obviously, what they've learnt from GCSE, we can then build. At the beginning of A level, we go through the different types of A level scripts. We look at different styles. We focus on people like Stanislavski and his real focus on the system within the naturalistic elements and building that really believable, all-rounded, in-depth character. Okay, and we don't just focus on obviously the practical elements, we do have a real heavy focus on the written and theory elements. So there's sort of 2 parts to the theory that we look at. One is evaluating live theatre, and I'm very passionate about this because I'm aware not all of our students are able to go to the theatre and be able to pay for a ticket. Some of them have never even stepped foot into a theatre, and some have been many times before. So I really want the students to experience that opportunity within our lessons. And this is definitely something as well we've built on and been a positive from lockdown and self-isolation, because there's been more websites and platforms that have provided really professional and amazing theatre that schools can now access for free. So we've really built on that recently. And again, we start from year 7, so we look at theatre genres. Within this unit, students do watch the Broadway version of a musical theatre production, Shrek the Musical. And what they can, not only is it really entertaining and really interesting, and obviously year 7 will know the story of Shrek, so they can really focus on the elements of the production rather than the storyline. But it also shows them everything, so costume, lighting, set, and they really understand the whole picture of the theatre. What they then do is complete a short little evaluation, looking at all the sort of why they found it interesting, and it links to their genres, so they already know a little bit about musical theatre and why that was effective. We then really build on this more in year 8. So year 8 watch a production called The Railway Children, which is staged in a traverse stage. So they not only learn about different configurations of theatres, but they also then focus on writing an in-depth written evaluation, which is part of the written exam at GCSE. They focus on the acting because obviously they have more knowledge of acting, and then what we do at year 9 is build, and they actually learn how to then really evaluate in depth the design elements, because that's what they've been focusing on previously within Unit 3, within their roles within theatre. Like I then said, so that builds into obviously component 3, which is the written exam, which is section B, which is worth 25% of the overall written exam. So it's overall 10% of the entire GCSE. We do a practice of this in year 10, watching the National Theatre's One Man, Two Governors, and obviously when we are able, we provide a range of theatre trips as well. And then finally, this plays into the A-level component 2 coursework, as they have to talk about live theatre they've been inspired by, but then also in component 3, both sections B and C, they again have to talk about live theatre they've been influenced by. So it's not just watching a show and evaluating it like GCSE, they actually have to evaluate it and then apply it to their own ideas. So again, we focus a lot on that in year 12 and going to watch shows, watching them in lesson time and being able to then think about how they could apply that to their own ideas. And then finally, this final element of the written that we focus on is called interpreting theatre. And this is essentially them coming up with their own ideas. So in year 7 of Unit 1, Introduction to Theatre, they look at their own performances and are able to then really think about actually how they use techniques within their performance and how that worked. Year 8, what we give them is part of the script we've been focusing on, and they learn the skills in order to write about how they would perform as a character. So it's not just their performance, they're actually taking away what they haven't experienced it themselves, they then got to apply it. So it's building on what they've done in Year 7, but a bit more challenging. Year 9, they have an end of year exam, which is simplified GCSE questions. These can be about costumes, it could be maybe about acting and a longer type of acting question, which we see in the GCSE. Obviously more structured, but this gives them then an experience when they do get to GCSE, they know how to answer and approach these questions. They're also not shocked as well when they get to GCSE that there is written elements because we've embedded them since Year 7. So that's what the GCSE happens within Section A. They study a play and then have to write about a range of questions: costume, lighting, sound, acting, etc. And then finally, the A-level is a little bit more difficult because it's quite in-depth coursework where they really analyse the specific process they took to create their work. And in component 3 of the written exam, section A, B and C, they have to talk about a range of ideas. So it's not just one question focused on costume. The question they would have to talk about a range of ideas: costume, lighting, set. And so GCSE builds them up to be able to talk about one. We then develop it further at A-level to be able to talk about a range. And just finally talk about our overall extracurricular opportunities. Obviously we are at the forefront of the school in terms of extracurricular opportunities for the students to really build and enrich that whole persona and really be a 10-10 school, which is the Griffin School's vision. So what we offer is a whole school musical every other year. Recently we've just performed Chicago to sellout audiences. Greece in 2018 was also a sellout show. So we have 4 performance nights. We also do our dress rehearsal to Year 7 to really inspire them. And the 4 nights, both shows that we've done recently have been sellouts, so that is getting over 1,000 people from the community to come into our school and watch the talent that the students have. We also provide Key Stage 3 opportunities. So each summer we do a Key Stage 3 show, which allows our younger students to really have that experience of getting the main roles and building their skills up and their opportunities ready for GCSE and A-level. We also compete in a national dance competition, was previously named Rock Challenge, is now known as Dance Live, where we have to create our own dance and drama performances. They're 8 minutes long, which tell a story of our choice. In the past, we've done the famous incident with Joe Simpson and Simon Yates, where they were climbing the Sula Grande and a terrible accident occurred. We looked at the tsunami that happened in Japan, where actually, there's a picture of it on the slide, we won the overall southern competition, so the whole of the south of England, we won the final competition there. We also won the overall Dance Live competition in 2020. So we are reigning champions and been very successful in our field. And then finally, what we've done is also started to look at monologue competitions. So really getting students to perform by themselves and not as a group, awarding senior and junior monologue competitions, which really helps with students if they're applying for drama schools and university, because that's often an element they look for. Which then brings me to my last slide, just thinking about the overall impact and actually what does all of this, all these units in Year 7, 8, 9, all the extracurricular, what that then has and the impact it has. And we've had many students go off to study drama or performing arts at top colleges in London or around the UK. So we have a student called Paris Grassi, who's currently studying at Erdang, one of the top performing arts schools in London. And if you go and watch any West End show, there will be students that have studied at Erdang in performing in those. Same with another student called Jess. She has just been offered a place at Erdang, and she's currently going through a recall at Atelier Conte. Georgia Holder got a place at Atelier Conte. Tom Forrest got a place at East 15, with same with Liam Beard. Sterling Woodgate got a place at PPA, and Nathan Hannay got a place at Sharp Academy. They're just a few examples in the last 2 years, and yeah, we're very, very proud. We've also had students go on to university and even not necessarily studying drama specifically, but being able to use the skills they've learnt at drama, A-level and GCSE and apply them to their course. So often we've had students go into medicine, into history and elements, and they say they can apply their teamwork skills, their confidence, their analysis and their evaluation skills into the profession they choose. So hopefully this presentation has been helpful in terms of giving you an insight into our department and our curriculum, why we've chosen the units that we study, and how that then helps build the students' knowledge and application of skills into the future and further education.